Hello everybody, I'm Dr. Gulhima Arora, consultant dermatologist, Mehekta Gul Derma Clinic, New Delhi. And today, this video is all about acne, and I'm going to tell you all the basic things about acne, especially what is not to be done if you have an acne prone skin and certain myths about it. You can follow me on my channel Dr. Gulhima Arora at YouTube, or follow my Instagram handle at Mehekta Gul Derma Clinic for more information and videos on skin, hair and skincare. So today we're going to talk all about acne. So let's begin with what acne is. Acne is colloquially known as pimples, and it's a very common skin condition. It's not a skin disease or a disorder, but it's just a skin condition which occurs or can occur much beyond the teenage years. So what exactly is acne and why does it occur? Well, acne is a disorder of the pilosebaceous unit, or the unit which has the oil glands and the hair follicle. So the oil glands have ducts which open into the hair follicle, which then opens onto the skin. So an excess of secretion of oils may block the pores that open the hair follicles on the skin, and this can further be clogged with your creams, the makeup you apply, dirt, dead skin, the pollutants, etc. So clogging of those pores can give rise to blackheads and whiteheads, which are actually lesions of acne. The other thing that can happen is there can be an increase in the cell turnover from the hair follicle, which again can block these pores and give rise to blackheads and whiteheads, which are also called comedones. Now, the bacteria in the skin known as Propionibacterium acnes or Cutibacterium acnes can infect these clogged pores and the oils inside and give rise to further lesions of acne, which may be red bumps or even give rise to pus, and then it can give rise to pus-filled lesions called pustules. An exaggerated lesion would be a cystic form of acne. So all these occur because of a lot of inflammation, the bacteria, the excessive buildup of oils in the skin. Remember, everything that comes on the skin as a red bump or as a small white looking lesion is not acne. There are many acne mimickers. So you can have bacterial infections, you can have folliculitis, you can have melia or certain cysts which may look like acne lesions, but they are not acne. So make sure the diagnosis is correct before you start any kind of treatment. What are the causes of acne? Well, acne is no longer a condition which is restricted to the teenage years. We are seeing a lot of patients with adult acne, and that is acne that occurs above the age of 25. So in the teenage years, because of the change in the hormonal milieu, the puberty, there is acne that comes in males. There's more secretion of testosterone. The females undergo puberty and menarche, and because of which there could be a change which increases acne. There could also be genetics that are involved at that age, and of course the skin maturation, which also gives rise to acne in the teenage years. In the adults, there could be many more causes. You have to rule out a correct diet, you have to rule out any hormonal imbalances, stress. It's becoming a very important cause of acne now because of the fast-paced life that we are leading nowadays. You could be using the wrong skincare products which are not suited for oily or acne prone skin. You could be using wrong makeup that may be clogging your pores, or you may be even very overzealous with treatments or facials or parlor procedures, etc. So there are so many causes for acne. Now coming to the types of acne, as I told you, there are the whiteheads and blackheads called comedones, which occur because the clogged pores, the pores get clogged because of dirt, sebum, etc. And then these are actually precursors for the larger lesions of acne. Sometimes the comedones, if they are tackled well and nipped in the blood, they don't give rise to larger lesions. But then you can have just red bumps or even pus-filled lesions, which means then there is infection with bacteria or inflammation. Now, why are we so worried about acne? Treating active acne is not such a problem than treating the sequelae of acne. So acne in our kind of skins, which are type 4 and 5, which tend to tan easily, does leave behind post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation or black spots or blemishes when it goes. And that's what makes your skin look very unsightly. So we are worried about treating active acne so that it does not give rise to any post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, because once the lesions are beyond the comedones, they form the red bumps or the pus-filled lesions, they can leave behind blemishes. The second thing is we don't want the acne to scar. So acne can give rise to depressed scars or raised scars after it goes away. And then treating those scars becomes a huge challenge and involves a lot of cost, because you need procedures to be done to get rid of those. Now, let's talk about a little about the skin care for acne prone skin or oily skin. Usually acne is a skin condition which comes up when the skin is excessively oily, and sometimes it does come up when your skin barrier is disrupted or you have a drier skin. So the skin care for acne prone skin is important. Yes, everybody with an oily skin or an acne prone skin does need a good cleanser, a moisturizer and a sunscreen. These are the three basics that you need in your normal skincare apart from the prescription medicines. So your sunscreen should be a gel based one. Your moisturizer should also ideally be gel based or non-comedogenic and oil free. And your cleanser should have some active like salicylic acid or glycolic acid. It should be a foam based one that gives your skin a good cleansing. And you should not overuse your cleanser. Use a cleanser only twice a day. Rest of the times you could splash water on your face if you feel you're too oily. Remember, over cleaning your skin can be counterproductive because it can stimulate your oil glands to secrete more oil, which can lead to more breakouts. So be mindful of what skincare you're using. You do have a lot of over-the-counter products or skincare products that you can use, and salicylic acid in the strength of 1 to 2%, sulfur, benzoyl peroxide, these are all over-the-counter medicines or skincare ingredients or molecules that you can incorporate in your regime. So now I'm going to talk a little about the treatment for acne. Remember, no one size fits all. What probably has been given to your friend or what suits her for her acne may not suit you. So as I told you, since there are many causes for acne, it's very important to know what the cause for your acne is, and it's advisable to consult a dermatologist who can rule out certain internal causes for the acne like a hormonal imbalance, because then your treatment would depend on the cause rather than just giving you an ordinary skincare regime which may not tackle the acne. So your dermatologist can prescribe certain medications which may fall under the group of antibiotics, or they may be retinoids which may be just topical or oral, or they may be hormonal treatment, and all of these are safe and your dermatologist knows best as to what strength and what dosage to prescribe them in. Now, there are also certain procedures which are in-clinic dermatological procedures which help with acne, active acne and the sequelae of acne. So coming to the active acne, we've got chemical peels which may be salicylic acid peels, retinol or the yellow peel or glycolic peels which work well for acne. There may be carbon treatments or carbon peels, a soft peel which may be done for acne that involves a laser. Microdermabrasion, hydrofacials, hydrodermabrasion also work well for acne. Now, for blackheads and whiteheads, we've got extractions that should ideally be done at a dermatologist's clinic, because you don't want to scar yourself if you go to a parlor to do it. And you also don't want to spread the infection or the bacteria from that lesion to the surrounding skin to cause more breakouts. So remember, all extractions, manual extractions, should be done at a dermatologist's clinic under a trained person. Now, active acne can, as I told you, give rise to certain sequelae. So what are the procedures for scarring? Now, if you've got depressed scars or pits due to acne, then you have to stimulate the collagen inside and do some collagen induction treatments to improve that scar. So what are these treatments? Microneedling, whether it is a manual derma roller or an electric device known as Dermapen, or a microneedling RF with a machine, all of these stimulate collagen inside and help to improve the scarring. We also have certain surgical treatments that a dermatologist can do, like excision or punch flotation of the scars, or even subcision, that is breaking the tethered bands of the acne scars, which help to lift and float up the scars. CO2 resurfacing is a very important laser procedure that can be done to improve the scarring, and of course combination treatments work well. Nowadays, a lot of PRP is being used, that is taking your own blood and utilizing the growth factors from it to stimulate collagen. And of course, dermal fillers are another modality that can be used to improve depressed or atrophic scars. Now, acne can also lead to hypertrophic or raised scars, and these are called keloids, and they can be tackled with intralesional steroid injections or silicone gel sheets or silicone-based creams. Now, the blemishes or the post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation that is left behind due to scarring, and which is so common in our kind of skins, are best avoided first of all. So how do you avoid them? The first thing is, don't pick on your acne. Don't touch and meddle with your acne, because that can lead to more inflammation, which can then leave behind pigmentation. The second thing is, never forget that along with the skin lightening treatments that your dermatologist may prescribe for you, or something that you may pick up from a chemist, needs to be backed up with adequate dosing and amount of sunscreen application. So whether you're indoors or outdoors, whether it's raining or whether there's sunshine, remember your sunscreen has to be reapplied every 2 to 3 hours to lighten that pigmentation. Because even if you're indoors, the rays from your devices can actually darken the pigmentation more. The third thing is, avoid any kind of home remedies, because you may not know, it may be causing subclinical inflammation and darkening and worsening those spots even more. Let's talk a little about diet and acne. There is enough evidence in scientific literature to prove that there's a direct association between diet and acne. So there are certain foodstuffs that you must avoid which have a correlation with acne. And the first out of those is complex sugars and complex carbohydrates. So cut down on your high glycemic index foods like your pastries, cakes and chocolates, because there's a direct association between these and the flare-up of acne lesions. The second thing is that you must cut down on dairy. Again, a known association between skim milk and cow's milk and excessive dairy products with the intake of acne. So you don't have to stop dairy completely, but have it in moderation. And if you feel it's triggering your acne, you must cut down on it. I usually tell my patients that anything that seems to trigger a breakout should be avoided. Like for me personally, mangoes don't suit me. Every time I have mangoes, I break out. So I tend to avoid them. Chocolates are another thing you must avoid, and of course don't forget your junk food and oily food, which does again have an association and causes a flare-up of acne. So what are the healthy what are the healthy foods that you must take? Well, you should take in foods rich with vitamin A and vitamin A. So have a lot of your yellow fruits and vegetables, papaya, you can have your pumpkin, etc. So foods rich in vitamin A do help, and foods rich in zinc also help, because zinc helps with acne flare-ups. So zinc is present in legumes, in lentils, in your seafood, in soy, tofu, etc. So these are foods that are beneficial. Remember, acne has become a condition because of unhealthy lifestyle, and a lifestyle modification does go a long way in helping you with your acne breakouts. Now let's talk of a special situation with acne, pregnancy and acne. As we know, we are not supposed to be taking a lot of medication during pregnancy, and if a pregnant woman is actually suffering with acne, what should she do? Well, there are certain medications which are safe to be used in pregnancy, and certain procedures which are also safe during pregnancy. So a pregnant woman can go in for azelaic acid, 10 or 20% cream, that is very safe during pregnancy. Application of benzoyl peroxide and clindamycin are also effective. Now, procedures that are safe are extractions, microdermabrasion, hydrodermabrasion, glycolic or azelaic acid peels. These are safe. And what is not to be done in pregnancy? Topical or oral retinoids, a definite no-no, because they can cause malformations in the fetus. And salicylic acid should definitely be avoided, because it can get absorbed and cause problems in the fetus. Now, coming to certain myths about acne and certain things that you should not be doing. The first thing is, stop abusing home DIYs, kitchen DIYs on your face, because they can cause sensitization of your skin and cause breakouts later. They may be okay if you use it once or twice, but later on they may be counterproductive. They may cause sensitization, inflammation, and give rise to more breakouts, which may leave blemishes. So don't try out DIYs. Stop abusing aloe vera on your face for each and everything. Aloe vera has no role in acne or to clear acne blemishes. Out of the 700 to 900 species of aloe vera present, only 7 or 9 of them have medicinal values, and it is best used in commercial products with the right processing and the right strengths. Don't pick on your acne. As I've said earlier, picking on acne can cause more inflammation and leave behind scarring or a blemished skin. Drinking water has no role in treating or curing acne or preventing acne flare-ups. Blood purifiers, there are many in the market, don't really have a role to clear up acne or prevent acne from coming up. It is a myth to think that the blood is not pure and that is why acne comes up. Well, there is an association between gut bacteria and acne, and taking probiotics has been shown to help with acne. Another myth is that if you scrub your face or over exfoliate, over abuse physical exfoliators, your acne is going to go away and your skin is going to be clean. Well, a word of caution, don't do it, because over exfoliating can disrupt the skin barrier and make your skin more prone, or it can expose your skin to more pollutants and dirts, which can cause more clogging of the pores. And secondly, over exfoliation can stimulate your oil glands to produce more oil, which can lead to more breakouts. So stay away from these myths. Hope this video was useful for all of you. Please subscribe to my channel, Dr. Guldima Arora, and follow me on Instagram at Mehekta Gul Derma Clinic. Please suggest this channel to your friends and anybody who is in need of scientific advice and a dermatologist's perspective to skincare.